Okay, so hi listeners, welcome to PlatON Air. Our broadcast will last about an hour. There will be 20 minutes free Q&A session at the end of our live stream, and I'll pick 5 questions and randomly pick 3 lucky audiences. All the picked questions will be rewarded with lat bounty. So today we very welcome Arjun Kalsy, Head of Growth of Polygon, and James, CTO of PlatON Network. Let's greet to the audience.
Hello, this is James. I'm very happy to have Arjun here. I think Polygon is a very hot, famous project right now in this crypto industry, and it's recently a lot of great news coming out. So congratulations to Polygon.
Thank you for that, James. Thank you for your kind words, and yeah, very excited and happy to be here as well. And yes, we've had I would dare say a fair amount of success, but yes, a lot of exciting things to follow. And I'm excited about this conversation and looking forward to taking some questions from the audience as well.
Yeah, it's really nice to have Arjun here. And obviously, we all know Polygon is a huge hit during the recent months. Many DeFi's, NFTs, and games are all deployed on Polygon currently, like such as Sushi, Zetrun, and QuickSwap. So many community members are quite excited to know we're having Polygon here. Like days before the live stream, we collected some questions from Twitter and our community to discuss with Arjun and James today. So one of the questions I found is very interesting. He asked, Polygon is is famous for its low gas fee as the sidechain of Ethereum. So while we know there are actually some other chains also aim to lower down the gas fee and attract more dApps like Solana and BSC, what's the difference between Polygon and the others? What's your key advantages and your competitive power in terms of the other chains?
Sure thing. No, great question. And I can just take a couple of minutes to cover that. So yeah, we've had a fair amount of adoption, and I think so. There are a couple of or maybe 3 or 4 things which make Polygon very popular, right? So definitely the fact that we are very inexpensive and fast, right? So Polygon has fast transactions. They're also extremely inexpensive. Like for $10, you can do over 1 million transactions. Pay for gas fees of over 1 million transactions on Polygon. But I think some of the most interesting things are, number one, that we are fully EVM compatible and we use the same ERC style assets as that of Ethereum. So the user experience and the experience for, let's say, the developer is exactly the same, right? So for the developer, it becomes very easy to build on Polygon, and for the user also, they see the same assets which they're used to on Ethereum. I think the other thing also which makes us popular is our developer first approach towards building our ecosystem. Like I think Polygon is unique in that way that all of our founders are developers. I head business development, but I'm also a developer. I come from a development background, and because of this, like we built a very strong support system for developers. Like we do developer grants, we do many different sessions. There's a lot of educational material also out there for Polygon. Also, all of this makes it easy for developers to develop. So for example, if you're developing a project on Polygon, we'll create a Telegram group with you, we'll communicate with you, we'll cover any questions, we'll help with grants, we'll help you get connected to investors. So whatever a project needs to do to succeed, we will help the project with all of those requirements. And so I think this is something which has also made us popular. I think the other thing also is the fact that we are fully interoperable with Ethereum. So sending assets super easy support system for developers. We are also fast. The infrastructure is fast, and also our roadmap. As once we sort of changed our name to Polygon, we are building all the different types of scalability solutions under Polygon, right? So we're also working on optimistic rollups, ZK rollups. We will be, in fact, releasing some information about that soon, in about maybe in I think a month or so, about our rollup roadmap. And we will be offering all of these different scalability solutions under one umbrella, all governed by one token, thereby creating a situation where the developer does not need to go to 5 or 6 different chains, like they can operate in one place. So with this kind of infrastructure, we feel that there's a lot we can offer developers. There's a lot we can offer the ecosystem, and I think this is why we've been very popular with the with the blockchain ecosystem.
Yeah, this is very kind of attractive, amazing. As the very old developer, so I'm pretty aged. I'm the developer last century, right? I started developing last century. It's very impressive. I had visit your YouTube a few like a video. That was the developer first policy. Actually, your Polygon is 1 year older than PlatON. We kind of brothers with 1 year gap, but the 1 year in blockchain industry means huge, right? Especially for you guys have a very strong team working closely with Ethereum, with those all group of smart guys. So I'm pretty impressed by the TPS, by the mainly we are trying to resolving this scalability related stuff, right? PlatON is trying to resolve it through, for example, more focusing on the fundamental cryptography layer. So we also work with Ethereum very closely. Since I think 2019, we had a grant from Ethereum research on the so-called, what was that? It was secret sharing validator. So now it's leading by consensus. Try to make it live and for 2.0. And this last year we also have another one on MPC. So it's quite a. We are all try to solve the scalability issues for Ethereum from different strains. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, definitely very interesting as well, Al James. And I remember the proposal which even the consensus had come up with, and of course, I mean, privacy is such an important factor as more and more structured finance companies like even JP Morgan and few other big companies start who are looking at getting into blockchain technology. I think some of the first questions they're going to ask is around privacy. So it's I think something super important, for the DeFi ecosystem to keep growing and flourishing. That there should be some very robust privacy infrastructure available.
Yeah, that's very good. I think Polygon very strong at the ecosystem. I remember you guys have more than more than 100 at least, if my memory clear correct, is more than 100 the apps already live or
Right. So currently it's over 500 actually. I can share.
Wow, that's cool.
Let me. Yeah, I can. In fact, we have a community run page. If suppose the audience wants to check it out, it's called awesomepolygon.com, like AWESOME, awesomepolygon.com, and you can see all the different DApps there. But yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No, that's awesome, right? Very good. I try to image because this DeFi is in my personal point of view, it's the first generation. It's a straightforward. Everything still kind of frankly transparent, like the AMM, etc. Right? It's quite successful. And the next stage, at least from PlatOn's point of view, we want to empower this DeFi with more privacy-preserving function or capabilities to kind of help them to reborn or upgrade to another level. So those kind of stuff we could work out together. So you guys are far ahead on the community and economy building. It's although only 1 year older, right? But pretty.
No, definitely. No, I mean, this is, of course, all credit goes to, like, the Polygon team members. All of us have been working extremely hard, to ensure that we support the community. And, over a period of time, like, although I would say a short period of time, but we've managed to get, fair amount of adoption and size of community. And also, I also agree with you there, James, that what we're seeing right now is just like the DeFi 1.0 kind of ecosystem, right? Where like you just see the basic primitives of finance, which is things like borrowing and lending, and possibly some more money markets like, let's say, derivatives, options. I think blockchain has so much more to offer. There are some DeFi primitives which are unique only to blockchain technology. For example, doing things like flash loans, right? Flash loans does not have a web 2.0 equivalent. At the same time, even governance, like there is no governance which can happen in web 2.0, but web 3.0 allows that. And I think like in DeFi 2.0 we will see more blockchain only primitives, where questions of, like, let's say, privacy layers, throughput, scalability are going to be even more important.
Yeah. Though there is a kind of privacy preserving this algorithm is making simple things complicated. No, that's the where the data or the transaction portfolio, or the cloud portfolio, whatever, got protected, right? So it's really a challenge from my personal point of view. So luckily, finance is a very simplified, kind of standardized data, have a very good regulation, very good policy, very good like experience, etc. It's easier to get marry with blockchain and get this DeFi successful. But after this financial industry, I think blockchain should have or must have a much broader use cases applied to other industries. So those ones could be much more challenging. We have to make a trade-off between what type of data, what kind of data flow, and what complicated how to composite, how to combine different privacy preserving algorithm together to make it really efficient. So I really impressive on the Polygon. You have the real dApps really go live. So that's the very good beginning. You have this real running dApps. Then you collect all the feedbacks, all the knowledge how to run it. Then plus more complexity like privacy preserving, etc. Step by step. It is kind of a robust growth.
No, definitely, definitely, and you, you mentioned such an interesting point as well, that finance is a great place to start implementing these technologies, because typically if you try to explain also, like, when you try to explain privacy, and then you get into, like, let's say, zero knowledge technology, you talk about zk snarks, it's just so difficult, right, to explain that to normal, maybe somebody who's non-technical, that how is this privacy happening. But that way, in the DeFi space, still things are, you could say, quite straightforward. Protocols are simple. If you look at, for example, simple thing like using a swap, it's based on a very simple mathematical formula. And like, it's a great place to start implementing this technology. I think privacy eventually is going to also start being implemented in NFTs, in like every kind of space, as more and more people come up with sort of the same concerns, right, which we see in web 2.0,
Yeah.
where big companies like Facebook, Google hold all the data, they know everything about you, and there is no proper clear legislation on who owns that data,
Yeah.
right? But in web 3 the data is owned by everybody. So here things can become even more confusing. So that's why I feel that, like for example, I was just thinking when I was discussing this with my teammates also, that in Europe, like the European Union had passed a legislation that a user can request Google to delete their
Yeah.
data, right? So I can send an email to Google, but imagine in blockchain the data is there; it can never be deleted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Once it's on the blockchain, you so it doesn't matter what legislation passes, you cannot. So that's why I feel that, that privacy and using technologies like zero knowledge is fundamental in many ways for the ecosystem to grow and become compliant with the law of the land, as one might say, right, and legislation. So yeah.
Yeah. That's I think we share some common understanding on this one. So data is the how to say? I just want to echo your comments. Data is the next generation of digital era's new type of oil, right? It does has value, but it's easy to be copied, easy to be leaked. They're abused by the mega firms like Google, Facebook, etc. That's why they got fined by governments, right? And the legislation side, on the legal side, regulation side, is GDPR, as you mentioned. Europe does has this GDPR already kind of applied to this industry. So there is a data erase rights. So if you ask the erase your data, you have to erase to get remove everything. That's really against the blockchain. So
Correct.
you mentioned a very interesting point. I was challenged by a PlatON community member the other time. So what I came up with the idea is we encrypt the data in certain way, and there is a key. That's the key can kind of decrypt the data, can get the contents, but we could publicly destroy this key, and then nobody could touch
Oh,
that.
very
Yeah,
interesting. Very
that's a
interesting.
very brand new way of doing things. That's a kind of not physically delete or remove, but rather than theoretically, nobody can open it from now on. So that's also another kind of forget the data.
Very interesting. I didn't think of it this way, but I think this is, yeah, very
Yeah, there
interesting.
are lots of this type of
Nice, optimal approach.
interesting point we could share and work together. Yeah, just want to. Where's my our host? I think we discussed pre.
Oh yeah, we've been talking for so long.
No, it's really
Oh,
great to hear like
sorry about
conversation
that.
between you two. And well, so I'm just going on like carry on to ask the next questions. Like I've been pay attention to these times. So like we all know one of the hottest news currently is about Ethereum's London hard fork, or we say specific thing as the EIP 1559. So will this upgrade influence Polygon, or do you think like Ethereum will solve the gas fee problem this time?
Um, so I think and I'll just take a minute to quickly cover, but I think that the gas fee ultimately is a function of the traffic you are seeing on the network, right? So there is more traffic, then there is more gas fee. It's really just got to do with that. And what I feel is that with more mainstream interest, and especially using NFTs, right? So NFTs appeals to a kind of user who may not be who may not be very conversant in blockchain technology, but it's a great way of getting new users into blockchain. Gaming is a great way of getting new users into blockchain, and as time progresses, more and more users are going to be using blockchain technology. More and more users will be doing hundreds, if not thousands, of transactions, right? And I've said this before. Like, if you want to imagine what thousands of transactions in a day means, just think about the number of times you tap your phone, right? The number of times you open apps, when you do something on your phone, like everything is technically a transaction. So when you have that kind of traffic in the future, I don't feel that even with ETH 2.0, you will be able to cater to that kind of traffic. Like, you will have to have some sort of scalability layer. Like, if if blockchain technology becomes as popular as, let's say, Android or iOS, which has like millions of users and doing millions of transactions in a day, you need to have some scalability layer. So I see the future as ETH 2.0 maybe being, let's say, the settlement layer, as one might say, but the transactions or the business layer will be, you could say, like a some sort of scalability layer, either a roll up or maybe some future scalability solution. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to add some comments from my side. I totally agree with Arjun, you said this. In addition, I think this digital era's stuff is kind of a growing cake. It's a brand new business. The business, all the transactions is growing. So the scalability will be an endless challenge. Even Ethereum to kind of change to upgrade to 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever, it still require additional scalability solutions like Polygon, like PlatON. That's one of my view. Another one is in this so-called digital era, right? We now there is a new word called metaverse, whatever. Right? So physically, for example, I'm a one person physically. I have my national ID only one, but in the digital world, I could have, for example, 100 or a few hundred IDs, Facebook ID or Google ID, whatever, right? Has, for example, lots of credit card, etc. And the business between this, the trades between these digital IDs could be how many times? You just make a C, N, M, N, whatever, right? It could be tremendously grow, exponentially grow, which means in the metaverse, in the digital world, there will be doubled, tripled, or 10 times, or 1,000 times of IDs, including those machines. We don't know if in the future a physical machine or an AI model will have an ID, right? So he will earn money for itself. So that could happen. For example, even after for 200 years, I still have an AI modeling copy my mind. If some person asking me, I still have a digital wallet. There are Bitcoin or ETH there, asking for a red pocket, whatever. I could verify its DNA. If I find out, oh, he's really my family member, then I could issue like a red pocket in the after 200 years. So think of this in the meta universe. It's I just want to explain the scalability really will be an endless challenge. We need to help kind of Ethereum grow, but with Ethereum grow to whatever version, it doesn't matter. The real kind of easily used blockchain, easily used, very user-friendly ecosystem will have more and more people join, even machine, etc. join, and there will be a lot more trading or business activity happening there. So I totally no worry about this. It will grow almost forever. So that's my comments.
That's a very interesting point, Like I usually talk about users, but what you're also saying is right, that there will be many machines also, right? Like many of the appliances we use who will also be submitting transactions, and that will
Yep.
continue to grow. So
Yep.
I think that's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
And I think I completely agree with you there.
Yeah, for example, PlatON and Polygon, or whoever, right? We form a DAO organization, and this DAO organization own a certain AI platform, and this AI platform will kind of earn that benefits by provide service to the blockchain crypto industry, and that one will live forever. It has its own like a digital wallet, right? so, so that's a I think it's much longer than human life.
Definitely, definitely. Very interesting. I didn't think of it that way. Very interesting point, James. Awesome.
Yeah.
Um, do we have any other questions also from the audience?
I think there are many.
Yes, actually,
So
a
Wiki.
lot. So one of the tweets asked, PlatON is famous for its privacy-preserving AI network. In terms of the future development, is there any possibility that we could see Polygon and PlatON work together? And in terms of the problems with current blockchain technology that is not quite user friendly for those who do not understand crypto well. So is collaborations between PlatON and Polygon that could solve this problem, could help those non-crypto users get into blockchain community better and easier.
Okay, so let me take this first and then get Arjun add afterwards. First of all, this the cooperation between Polygon and PlatON, I do trust we will have a lot of areas because we are all approaching to the same objectives, long-term objectives for scalability, security, provide a much better blockchain ecosystem for kind of new users, for new businesses. And on this area, Polygon did much better than PlatON on the ecosystem, on the dApps, etc. We could learn a lot, and there are a bunch of dApps for example, can be migrated onto PlatON, and this first one. The second one is PlatON could share more of these privacy preserving, so including zero knowledge proof and secure multi-party computation, this homomorphic encryption, and TEE, etc. We have done this for many years, right? We have a huge like a reserve for all these kind of algorithms. So we could cooperate on this to get these dApps to reborn as the new one. For example, we are thinking about the private payment and the anonymous voting. I think in Polygon there are many games there, quite active. So a lot of real use case. We could consider how to apply this privacy preserving technology onto it to help it grow to a different a new dimension, right? Another one is for the beginners, right? For the user-friendly front, I'm pretty agree with Polygon's approach. So developer first, because developer is a real contributor, the builder of this community. So only if when you get developers happy, they could build up user-friendly dApps. So that's the cornerstone. PlatON should focus as well. That's why recently I'm asking the core team to get the short video descriptions and the very easy understanding sample codes and etc. Right? So this kind of stuff we really could learn from Polygon, and we cooperate with each other. Yeah, that's my view.
No, very interesting, and I would also say the same, that like the problem which we are trying to solve is a problem for for everyone, right? So scalability and also when we talk about privacy protection, and yes, I also 100% agree with James that this technology fundamentally for the user will be built by the developer, right? So we need to, whatever framework we come up with, it has to have the right documentation, it has to be intuitive for developers to develop on. And definitely, like from, if you look at it from our perspective, from the Polygon perspective, of course, we have a large community. We want to keep growing our community, and what we also want to do is we want to do right by our community. Like, we owe it to our community to come up with the best technology, to offer them the most number of options when it comes to sort of being able to access or try blockchain technology. So we are committed to delivering the best technology possible to our community, and of course we would love to work with PlatON as well, and try and see how we could bring its technology to our community, and try and come up with some interesting ways in which how it could be applied. And just like how James said, that his team already has researchers who've been working on this technology for quite a period of time, and of course we would love to learn from their experience as well. So I agree with James there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Arjun, for answering these questions from like our community and Twitters. So is there, so we have about 20 minutes left to ask questions about um, what do you want to know about Polygon and PlatON? What do you want to know about the, the future development or anything else? If you want to ask question, you can just raise your hand up, and our host will pick you and reward you with our lab bounty later.
Yeah, but recently I just using this spare time to bombarding a little bit. I saw there is a comment in one video session on YouTube. Polygon team is quite busy and almost exhausted. so, 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 so what's your working kind of every day? How long time working?
I've lost track actually,
Oh.
but yeah, I mean, on average, I would say. So again, I don't, I certainly don't want to say that, this is the right thing to do, or, you should work this way, or it's just something, I enjoy working. But on average, I work anywhere between about, I would say 12 to 15 hours on a daily
Yeah, yeah.
basis. And I would say about in the last, I think I would say 9 or 10 months, I have taken exactly 4 days of vacation,
Wow.
out of which 2 days I was actually down because I had taken my COVID vaccination, so I physically could not work. So, so it's been like pretty crazy, and it's been a lot of hard work, and all the founders also work the same hours. It's not as if they're working any less, and sometimes I also feel bad that while I'm working like this, sometimes my team also has to work as equally hard to keep up with the growth we are doing. So sometimes I do feel bad for sort of and I try my best to make life easy for them as much as I can. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work which goes into
Yeah, no worry. I
goes
was
into
asking this
growing
because
Polygon.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
impressed by the last video I watched, and also feel your team's kind of enthusiasm on this job. Another one I want to share with you is from my observation. I was working in the traditional financial industry in the past. So looks like because of this blockchain technology is open source, so people, there is a fair ground open. Everyone can contribute, can compete, and give you a lot of room to do innovation. And that's also why the blockchain technology only kind of more than 10 years old, right? It kind of spreading and very successful. If the same progress I saw in the past in the traditional financial industry, from people making phone call to trade a stock till the algorithm called algorithm trading, it takes almost 20 years. So it's quite a different environment, and that's very impressive. So
I think that's a very interesting thought. As a developer, I've got to agree that typically, if you look at the Web 2.0 world, right, and not just finance, but in general, like if you were to look at the Web 2.0 world, money is made because of information asymmetry. Right. So if I know something you don't, then there is a chance for me to monetize, that. Right. And that's typically how the Web 2.0 economies are built, right? So the economies are built around intellectual property, economies are built around sort of, information asymmetry
yep.
of, somebody knowing some information which the other person doesn't know. But what we've seen in blockchain is information symmetry, which is everybody knows the same
Yeah.
information. Right. And we've seen the promise of that, right? How if there is information symmetry and people can actually learn from each other rather than trying to protect
Yep.
information, then you can achieve stupendous progress. Like you can achieve very fast progress, right, in a very short period of time. So I think even from a just a philosophical perspective, that I this is kind of what I also like about blockchain technology, that in many ways it has challenged me and also challenged many other people to maybe think a different way about value creation.
Right.
right? Rather than looking at value creation through the lens of information asymmetry, that I should study and get some degree, other person does not have degree, so now I can make money,
Yeah.
right? Because I know something somebody else doesn't. But in this world, value creation is completely different. It's more, it sort of stems from information symmetry. So it's a very different way of looking at the world as well. And and that's what I find very interesting about this, that this kind of, this is a lot more collaborative. People help each other, and because people are working together, there is a huge amount of progress in a very short period of time.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So yeah.
that's very good, kind of a culture change from the monopoly way of doing things, like the traditional mega firms, internet firms doing things, change to this DAO, automated auto, like a cooperate with each other, contribute and share with each other. In blockchain world, we could say this is a distributed consensus, right? It's quite a successful, and from so PlatON is also quite kind of try to push this forward to make this privacy preserving. We call it distributed privacy AI network, to build it up on this open share culture, using this DAO way of doing things, compete with those like mega firms, do everything by themselves, kind of collecting or stealing data, right? When you aware or you're not aware, they are collecting data actively from you.
Yes.
That remind me, in the very past, we when we buy stuff, right, we pay cash, the real money, right? We pay cash, and
Yes.
I just take what I want, then I walk away. So the vendor doesn't need to know who you are and how old you are, where you live, what's your like and what you dislike, etc., etc. But nowadays, when we do shopping online, why we are getting this pinpoint advertisement, so a lot of sensitive data leaked out, feeding these mega firms and their AI model busily, kind of tirelessly computing on the clouding data center, and then they send this advertisement friendly, right? That's a good thing. If it's try to manipulate what you are thinking or what you're willing to do, it's also feasible. So they could hint, send you some information selected or filtered or rearranged to you. Then you will take certain action based on the calculated model. So it's quite a, I think it's quite a, reaching a certain area quite a dangerous now. So that's why at least PlatOn's team want to make some contribution to protect this. In the digital world, we have digital rights, right? To like basic human rights. Some data we do own it, and we do not want to disclose. We want to protect our privacy, our life. Do not want to be like abused, etc. So uh, quite challenging. So it's a tough, very tough task, and need many people to work together, not limited to kind of PlatON and Polygon. Uh, we could embrace more teams, more projects. We work it out together.
No, definitely, and it's so interesting, right? When you talked about like data and privacy as well, and I also feel that this is going to be like a big challenge for businesses as well. To like to sort of become, you could say, attuned to this new kind of reality, right? And I'll explain how, right? So typically when, let's say, companies are tracking us, right, and they are taking data about us. Now, a lot of the retail, like a sort of retail, let's say, demand projections, or for example, supply chain or inventory management, is based on this data, right? So on the basis of what you might buy, and what the like, for example, what are the buying trends, and what are like some of this data which is connected, is used by companies to predict like many important things, right, which make businesses profitable. For example, accurate demand forecasting, accurate inventory forecasting and things like that. So, but if you take away this data, for example, right, and you now are moving towards a more privacy centric world, it makes it very difficult to do this. Right, so this is very interesting because I've had this discussion also with some people from like Web 2.0 industries, right, where they've challenged me and asked me this question that how will you solve this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say we make everything privacy. Right now there is no, we cannot do demand projection, we cannot do forecasting, and how do we like then run a business profitably? And so I think there are some like
Yep.
challenges and barriers also which I think all of us need to solve together. I feel that like as the world becomes more privacy centric and people become more realize that they are being tracked and they want to be in control of the data, it will also challenge many Web 2.0 businesses
Yeah, exactly.
to change their business model, right, where they will have to find new ways possibly to do demand projections and how to figure out inventory forecasting, supply chain dynamics. And yeah, and I think it's going to be like it will take some time, but it's going to be a very fundamental change in how business is done in the world, today versus what it might be maybe 10 years from
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So yeah, so it's very interesting sometimes, how to solve these kind of problems, with privacy.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that's why the nowadays on the AI side, uh, uh, the federal learning are kind of emerging. So data be calculated, or the AI model be trained decentralized way. So the data will not leave local, but only train the AI model. And after it's trained separately on different silo, then it will get summarized as one. But these model owner will never have the each silos like sensitive data. I think there are lots of ways to achieve this one. It's very challenging. As I just explained today, this thing make things more kind of complicated. So if we already get used to click and then wait 2 seconds, there is a result coming. I'm very happy with that. It suddenly became I click and need to wait for 2 months, then I won't use it. Right? So there must be a gap there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both for answering the questions. Well, we actually have many audiences want to ask questions to you guys.
Oh,
So can the host please invite some of the audience who raised their
yeah,
hands?
sure. Yeah.
Hi, so you can speak now. We are still not able to hear you.
But can you explain how to? For example, you need to click the microphone icon, and then there will be an invitation pop up. You need to agree, and then you can speak, right? So that's the how the Twitter space works.
He is already a
Oh,
speaker.
really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw there's a alarm ALAMS. I cannot say the rest. It's already a speaker. Yes. Sorry.
But we cannot hear him.
Yeah, can I hear? I think so. We could have a speaker stay here, and then have a second one. Oh, it sounds like a
There's
Star Wars.
some.
Yeah, sounds to me is a Star Wars kind of with a mask speaking, but cannot hear the exact question. Oh,
Okay. Seems like the host changed another person. So, hi, Vax.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Uh, I want to ask some questions. As we all know, Polygon's community building is very successful. I would like to ask, what do you think is the most important things to build Polygon's community? And how would you go about continue to expand Polygon's reach? I finished. Hello?
Yeah, I think this question is to Arjun, right?
对对对。
Or maybe Wiki, you can repeat the question and remind Arjun to response.
Yeah, sure. So Vask asks, so we all know Polygon has a quite big important thing to Polygon.
I think we
And
lost.
how are you going to continue to expand the Polygon?
I
I
think.
think we lost Arjun.
Yeah, Arjun switch it to listener somehow. Oh.
No, I'm back now. I speak. Apologies, there's some problem with my connection. Yes, now I can hear you.
So Vicky, can you repeat the question? I think Arjun had some connection issue.
Yeah. Okay. So the question just now is for Polygon. We know that the Polygon, community is quite big and successful. So what is the most important thing for building the Polygon community, and how would you go about continue to expand?
Vicky, this time we lost you.
All right, I think
Okay.
yeah. So
So
I
can
kind
you
of
guys hear me now?
yeah. I think I got the question, so I can
Okay.
maybe cover that. So again, like I said, the most important thing I think when you try to build a community is transparency. So you have to be transparent with your community, with what you're building, and like I said, the second most important thing is that you need to continuously, like as we say in in engineering, right? You continuously need to ship. Like you need to ship products, you need to continuously keep improving, you need to continuously keep building, and there's a lot of other apps and chains out there which promise a lot but they don't deliver. And I think one thing which has happened, like which has been appreciated about us as well, is that we deliver consistently with respect to ecosystem, with growth, with products, with our roadmap. And I think that's sort of something which the community has recognized as something which is important. And also, as people, we're very humble people. All of us, founders, myself, all of us come from very humble backgrounds. We have some very old school values, by which we live our life. And I think that's something which in some ways rubs off on the kind of culture which we have, which is that of openness, of respect, of doing the right thing. So I think that's one of the reasons why we've been popular, and we've had a very large and growing and very active community. With respect to so this, I actually missed the second part of the question, Vicky. So one was regarding community. I think there was a
Yeah, sure. She asked, how would continue to expand Polygon's reach?
So I think a couple of interesting things are which we are working on our roadmap, which we're going to be talking about soon. Are our approach to scalability. So we've talked about how Polygon will be an aggregator of all types of scaling technologies. So we are doing deep research on CK rollups, optimistic rollups. We have a big team which does this. So we'll be talking a lot more about our roadmap. I think this is going to be crucial for us to continue to grow. We are also have several network upgrades planned, and we're also doing some other interesting activities. So we put together something called the Polygon Studios, right, which is an effort from our side to bring special focus to gaming and NFT projects. And we've set up an investment vehicle as well to invest in these projects. We're going to be putting together about $100 million fund to invest into NFT and gaming projects, and so we're doing a lot of things on sort of you could say on extending further the developer support and the ecosystem support which we already do. We're also launching certain other interesting community programs as well, like a Polygon Advocates program, which is to sort of have to take selected members from the community and sort of give them like special technical training, DeFi, NFT training to help them sort of understand the ecosystem better and be, you could say, an advocate for Polygon. So there are a lot of things which we're doing on the business and the technology side. So stay tuned for the updates. And yeah, and I think we're going to be having many exciting things coming up very soon.
Yeah, great. So we have other audiences also raise their hands, so waiting for the host to pick. Yes, can you speak now?
Yeah, I saw his connection unstable. Is kind of connected, disconnected. Still cannot hear the question. Yeah, maybe could
Sorry,
type.
it's a very poor connection.
Yeah, I want to thank you for this chance pick up me. In our community, very curious. Is there any possible the Polygon will cooperate with the PlatON in the future? Because we are in the community of the PlatON. And my second question is for the Polygon. Is there possible future useful direction we can focus on, or we should pay attention on in Polygon? Which direction? So, your view, yeah, about this one. Yeah. Third question is for the community, for our project, we want to participate in Polygon. So, do you have some suggestion for us? Yeah, thank you. You can just pick up which one you want to answer. Yeah, it's okay.
Sure. So I can take some of those questions. So with respect to the direction of Polygon, is that so there is a short term and the long term view which we have. So the short term view is to, like I said, focus on Polygon Studios, focus on some other initiatives which we are coming up with to continue to grow our ecosystem. We also have some interesting network upgrades planned. So that is the short term direction, to continue to build on what we already have. In the long term, like I said, we will have new scaling solutions available which will represent businesses of their own. So that by itself, will be very interesting, and that is sort of the long-term direction we want to go in, which is to continue to build all kinds, of different scaling solutions possible for Ethereum, and then have them all governed by the same token. And with respect to collaboration, of course, we are open to collaborating with PlatON and sort of bringing more privacy focused technology to our community. So of course, we'd be interested in exploring that as well.
Yeah, let me add one. Since Helen is based in Toronto, right? So if you happen to know any good developers in your community, please refer to PlatON, to Polygon. So we will kind of we really need developers, which is a key. We also want to be developer first, right? So to build up the open source global developer community. Actually, that's one of my requests to today's audience. Regarding the cooperation, as just said, we will. I totally agree with the transparency policy, like Polygon is doing. So on PlatOn side, we will 100% do this type of transparency as well. So try to explore the opportunities with Polygon on the ecosystem building, on the privacy preserving, or we call it trustless computing side, how to cooperate with each other. So we'll find out the chance and disclose to the community, even including if I arrange another meeting with Arjun next time, we'll release it to the community to keep everything transparent. I think there are a huge possibility for two of us to cooperate with each other. And that's my.
Okay, thank you. So maybe the last question is a very short question, like from me to Arjun. You mentioned a lot of like NFTs games are, part of the development plan of Polygon later. So a personal question, what is your favorite, on-chain games like currently?
Oh, very interesting question. So I think one of the interesting, one game which I find interesting is Decentraland. And then of course, decentral games as well, because it's a metaverse. It's something which happens within a metaverse, and I find the concept of metaverse quite fascinating. With people doing different things, interacting, and a very large community being built. I think that is something which I find interesting. I've also looked into some other interesting games as well. Like there is also Mega CryptoPoly, which is like a SimCity kind of game, but with in within the crypto world. I've also checked out some Vulcanverse games. So I've played like a fair amount of games. I don't get that much time, so I'd love to play more games. But yeah, these are some of the few ones I've tried. Avagoche is also very very interesting and quite addictive actually. So I like that game as well. Yeah. Oh, I think someone's asking a question as well. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, hello. For my question, what effect does PlatON have on the Polygon network? Thanks.
Yeah, we can hear you. So you can speak now.
Sorry.
Okay, do you have questions now? Okay, actually is the time to end our session right now. We already last about an hour and a little bit more. So thanks for Arjun to come to our channel, and thanks James to have a great conversation with Polygon today. I think most of us, all of us actually got some very nice, very good informations about your about the future plans, about your attitudes of blockchain, and your attitudes about privacy. So thank you so much.
I had a great time as well. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Arjun. Thank you for Wiki for your hosting.
Okay, so see you guys next Thursday.
Yeah, see you.
Bye bye, folks.